editor of Nation's Restaurant News, and I am here with Nick Graff of Noodles Company. Nick, introduce yourself.
Hi, Lan. Yeah, I'm Nick Graff. I'm the executive chef and vice president of culinary innovation for Noodles Company.
Awesome. So we're here at the first NRA show in several years. A lot has happened since the last one. Give me a broad overview of what's been going on at Noodles Company.
Sure. Well, the pandemic obviously changed a lot for us, but we recently launched what we call Uncommon Goodness, something that's been core to our brand for a good 25 years. And Uncommon Goodness really is just about finding the uncommon good attributes of our brand. It can be found in culinary innovation. It can be found with guest experience, how we treat our employees, our rewards program, which I think is a pretty stout rewards program, as well as how we positively impact our communities. We spend a lot of time and put a lot of effort into our communities because we're firm believers that you can't just take, you've got to definitely be a partner and give back.
Yeah, so it sounds like it really touches every area of the business. You obviously work on the culinary side. What would you say has been your biggest challenge over the last couple of years?
Yeah, the biggest challenge, it's probably keeping the culinary innovation rolling along at the same time supporting our supply chain team with some of the challenges that they're facing. Whether it be substitutions, maybe a product's no longer available, so we now have to go source another product, and so the culinary team really spends a lot of time supporting that group.
Yeah. So tell me about some of the menu innovation and changes that you've undergone recently.
Sure. On May 4th, we're super excited to launch this. It's called Lean Guini.
Yes.
And so it's a fresh frozen noodle that eats like a fresh noodle. But the benefits are that it's 56% fewer net carbs and 44% more protein. So really targeted at that guest who wants to cut back on carbs, but really doesn't want to give up the satiability and the texture and the wonderfulness of what a traditional pasta is, which typically, when you get a low-carb pasta, you usually have to sacrifice some quality. This noodle, I promise you, it eats just like a fresh noodle.
Yes. So one of the challenges that everybody's talking about right now is labor and workforce.
Yeah.
And you touched on this a bit with your Uncommon Goodness, but what does Noodles do to attract and retain people, and how much of a challenge has that been?
Yeah, we have a real stout benefit program for our employees. One of the things that we've really focused on during the pandemic was simplifying the work, making it easier for them to do. A lot of people left our business, and so we're trying to attract them back. Let's get them back into the restaurant business because that's the number one business in the country. Let's get them all back in there by making things simpler and making the environment a fun place to work. What we find is that we end up retaining people longer when we do that. And so it's really about making the work experience more of a family-like atmosphere that's fun to be in.
Awesome. Yeah. Another big challenge these days, almost even more so, is inflation. How is that impacting Noodles & Co., and what are you doing to combat it?
Yeah, inflation's definitely having an impact on us, and it's keeping the supply team and the culinary team very busy. There's a number of initiatives we have working on today, whether it be changing the format of how we purchase our chicken. Chicken is the one that we're all talking about today. So it's looking at how can we change our format so that it's more efficient at the manufacturer level, and therefore passes on savings to us so we can try to combat some of that inflation. And then unfortunately, with inflation, it means we've got to also take a little bit of price here and there.
Sure.
We are being very strategic about that and being very cautious about what we do in terms of price increase, trying not to pass as much on as possible.
Am I remembering correctly that you've added a surcharge on chicken dishes?
We did.
Okay.
Yeah, we did, and that's a temporary thing,
right,
obviously, until we're able to see price drop. We're also looking at maybe another strategy where maybe we'll be able to mitigate some of that surcharge.
Yeah, I remember thinking that was interesting as opposed to a straight menu price increase, because it really reinforces that this is temporary just until the inflation passes. So
I think we're all hoping that this inflationary state is temporary and it starts to subside.
absolutely. Have you seen much customer pushback to menu price increases or the surcharge?
Pretty minimal.
Good.
Yeah, pretty minimal. I think we're kind of in that sweet spot. We're in between the QSR brands and the casual brands, and so I think we share a lot of the same customer, and so I think that's been a benefit to us that we're able to mitigate some of that pushback.
Great.
Yeah.
So as we hopefully, fingers crossed, are coming out of the pandemic, what is Noodles Company looking forward to? What's ahead?
Oh yeah. Well, from a culinary perspective, we have some pretty exciting stuff coming up. We're currently testing the Impossible Panko Chicken, and we're looking to expand that test now because it's doing quite well for us.
Awesome.
And then in the first quarter of next year, we're launching Broth Bowls, something that we felt strongly that Broth Bowls were a missing item on our menu, like a ramen, a pho. So we're staying away from too authentic. We're walking that line of approachability and authenticity, using authentic ingredients, but at the same time, we're introducing some new global flavors. And a lot of people may not know this, but in Asia, I think broth bowls are kind of viewed like a comfort food. And we have all these Asian dishes on our menu, but none of them fit into that category. These hopefully will meet that.
Yeah, well, and with noodles being such a comfort food, I think for people too, that seems like a perfect fit.
Yeah, sure does, huh?
That's great. Anything else that you want to talk about? Share with us today about noodles.
Sure. I mean, we have this awesome rewards program, and what I would tell you is, it's free. We have 4 million members, and the great thing about being a member of a rewards program is you get early access to these new menu innovations. So, for instance, when we rolled out linguine on the 4th, all the way to May 18th, those people had access to linguine. They got to see it first, they got to try it first. And it's absolutely free. They just got to go to noodles.com/rewards and they can sign up and they'll get free access to these things early on.
That's great. I know everyone's trying to figure out loyalty right now and how do we get the customers and how do we keep them. So that's awesome to hear how Noodles is doing it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Nick Graff with Noodles Company. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you for talking.
Absolutely.
Yeah.